Welcome to Mimic Decision. We are really excited to be here today introducing our brand new campaign, The Veil of Vesir, set in a custom world with a custom campaign setting. We'll be playing Daggerheart, which, for those who don't know, is a game created by Darrington Press from some of our favorite guys in this space over at Critical Role. We've been playing it a bit here at Mimic Decision throughout our Cavalier mini-series as we prepped for this, but today is day one for Vesir, where the group here is going to be introducing you to their new characters as I introduce you to a new world. I promise that we are going to bring you guys into the story as often as we can, and we're going to look for opportunities to do so as we play. So keep an eye out for us to ask chat to chime in for questions, suggestions, thoughts, and we are always open to feedback as we play. So, just let us know what you think now or later if you're watching this video over on YouTube. For those who haven't seen us before, I'm Matt. I'll be your GM for this first campaign here at Mimic Decision. With me, as they will be for most of the time, I have Tom, John, Tim, Josh, and Aubrey, who will all be playing their characters. They'll have a chance to introduce them and themselves as we get going. Without a lot of ado here, I want to kind of get started and take a look at this world that we've been working for a while to bring to you. So we start our day, our journey here on a day of remembrance in Vesir. Vesir is a world that has had a long and bloody history, riddled by war and conflict between the 5 great nations of the world, and we'll get to all of them in time. But what's most important is that 12 years ago, there was a night known as the Red Tide, an event where a grassroots military movement formed by a coalition of primarily working class individuals from several of the great nations of Vesir marched on the city of Gaetel, the location of our journey today. The Red Tide was a night of terror and confusion for a lot of people within the city of Gaetel, as those who were sympathetic to the movement were provided with weapons and opportunity to take out individuals who were seen as problematic, people who might stop the movement as it was in its infancy. 12 years later, we sit in Gaetel, the capital of the world, or at least that's what it would like you to think. Gaetel is the center of a new experimental peace here in Vesir, a place where all the great nations come together, using both appointed and elected individuals to try to run the world of Vesir in a way that won't lead it directly back into the bloodshed that it is known for so long. Today, 12 years after the Night of the Red Tide and 10 years after the beginning of a ceasefire marks the longest period of time that Vesir has known peace in modern history. And so we're going to focus on Gaetel as it celebrates that peace, but also remembers the past. Today in Gaetel is Remembrance Day, a festival that is stark in its duality. The morning is reserved for prayer, introspection, mourning, remembrance, to look at the cost, at the impact, at the results of what's happened, of what helped shape the world as we know it today. The afternoon, however, is for celebration. This is where the many people of Gaetel, and all over Vesir, to a lesser extent, come together and celebrate who they are, who they're becoming, and hopefully a bright future. So today, we look at Gaetel as the morning comes to an end, as the remembrance and the solemnity of this day fade, and we turn it into something more of a party. The streets of Alatain Spear, a mostly residential neighborhood in Gaetel, are quickly overrun with individuals running out. Carts are being set up, Cordons are lined out, events are being set up, and the smell of food and drink overwhelm. There are stews and pies being cooked. There are drinks being served. At the moment the time shifts over to afternoon, and people are making merry and getting in their festive mood as quickly as possible. The ceremony is centered at a small plaza on the northern end of Alatane's Spear, closest to the center of the city, alongside the canals that connect all of Gaiatel to each other. We can see as the music and the festivities start to get underway that the crowd makes room for a halfling man, later in his years. He has a very well trimmed black hair and a black goatee, both of which are showing signs of gray. He's dressed in a long jacket with a vest. He has a pocket watch on a chain coming out of his waistcoat, and he has a little jaunty hat on top. He kind of grabs his lapels as he walks forward to look at the crowd that is gathering here in the plaza on Alatane's Spear, and he has a grin on his face, that of a natural showman, somebody who has done this a million times before and likely will do so a million times more if given the chance. He clears his throat as he looks around and stops to breathe the air in and smile, listening to the sounds of the festival already getting underway. Come on, to the, what is this, 10th annual Ceasefire Remembrance Festivity. He gets stopped for a moment as an aide kind of comes up to his shoulder and leans down and whispers in his ear, and he looks up. Oh, is that right? Is that right? Still? All right. Comes back. I apologize. I have been corrected again. Welcome to the Ceasefire Remembrance Afternoon Party. Those powers that be want us to make sure that we have a nice solid dividing line between the Ceasefire Remembrance morning and the afternoon. Now, if you take my word for it, that's crap. And I've told them so at the tower several times now. So when they are done genuflecting and obfuscating whatever it is they do up at the tower, hopefully they'll get around to fixing that name. But for now, let's forget about that. For now, it's time to celebrate. I don't care what this is called. You know why you're here. You spent the morning thinking. You spent the morning introspecting, remembering. You spent the morning doing the right thing. And now, for the afternoon, we get to celebrate what we all came here to do. Before we get into that, I just want to say 10 years. 10 years since the last real battle on the face of Vesir. Now, that doesn't seem like all that long. But I'll tell you, for the people who have lost their brothers and their sons to the wars that came before, that 10 years is a gift. And that's what we're here to celebrate. 10 years and hopefully many more like it. Now, all that out of the way, I think you can smell the food. We've got stews and pies being cooked up. We have food carts and drinks at every corner. And as always, it is completely free. You get up to what you want to get up to. You celebrate, you libate, you gyrate, and you get up to whatever other eights you want to get up to. But without any more of that ado, we've got much to do. We have a busy day for you. Events all through the festival that we are excited to bring you. And I know from my nose and everybody else around here, the one we're most excited to start on is that classic, the pie eating contest. And the man points to a group of 4 long tables that have been set up in the plaza. And as you can see, there are a few dozen people already kind of milling around the tables, setting down to sit in front of place settings where there's just a knife and a fork and nothing else for the moment. Um, oh, I'm sorry. I have been informed that I forgot to introduce myself. Now, I don't think there's much need. All of you know me, but in case you didn't, for some reason, if you're living under a rock or something, I'm Cooper Coppersmith. But they call me Goldsmith because of how well I turn these words into gold, isn't that right? But that's not what we're here for today. No, right now we are here to remember and eat some pie. Oh, and look at that. He points to another halfling man sitting already at one of the tables. Would you look at that? My cousin Keeve is here. Keeve Silkstone, a true son of Grancel. This boy is, he's an industrialist in the true sense of the word. Isn't that right, Keeve? And Keeve, the gentleman sitting there kind of looks red-faced up at him and mumbles something back that's difficult to hear. Cooper continues talking. Oh, that's all right, Keith. That's all right. I see your pretty little assistant is here too. You guys about to get up to some fun? That's good. That's good. I'm seeing a lot of fierce competitors here for this pie eating contest, so let me get everybody up to speed. Now, we got 4 varieties for you to choose from. Take your pick, whatever helps you get it down. Cherry, apple, peach, and blueberry. You take your pick, you sit down. You can eat that pie any way you like on the table. You got your hands, you've got your face, you've got the pie tin itself, and you've got utensils if, for God's sake, you want to use those. No outside tools, no trickery, no chicanery. We will be watching. Now, we're going to get those pies in front of all you. You just let them know which one you want. We're gonna blow the whistle. You're gonna have 5 minutes to eat as much pie as you can. Our assistants will be on hand, ready to replace those pies for you as we go. At the end of those 5 minutes, whoever eaten the most is the winner. You'll get some vouchers for our prize booth on the other side of the festival and bragging rights for the rest of the night. How does that sound? Everybody, please come filter on in. Take your seats. Let's get this contest underway. And that, as he says so, the chairs and tables do fill up very quickly. About 4 dozen people sit around talking to the assistants, getting their pie preferences ready. And speaking of pie preferences and speaking of bringing the audience into things as often as I possibly can, I have the first question for our audience with no real context and the highest stakes that you could possibly imagine. I need to know, what kind of pie are we getting here? Chat a minute to catch up. So long term, we do intend to have some polling activities ready for this, and as soon as we are able to make that work through Twitch, we will absolutely streamline these. Until then, you'll have to bear with us as we talk to chat directly and get their input. All right, we've got some votes coming in. We've got some qualifications coming in. What if there are allergy concerns? Oh, that's one. Doesn't count. All right. I think for this one, the peaches have it. So, sitting down at one of these 4 tables as the pie eating contest is about to begin, we have our first person of interest. Sitting not too far away from the man introduced as Keeve Silkstone is a fungrel. For those who are unaware, in Daggerheart's settings, fungrel are a race of fungus. People, beings that grow around the bones of the lost, of the fallen, and create new life out of them. Fungal are an interesting people, and I promise that we will spend some time satisfying your curiosity about them, hopefully, as much as we've been able to satisfy our own as we've figured all of this out. But to give some more detail on this particular fungal, I don't think I'm the person to ask. Aubrey Wumba, our first player, why don't you introduce yourself?
Introduce
Your character. I'm
myself or
sorry.
introduce the character? My
Your character.
That's a great introduction to me, actually. Hello, everyone. Um, he's eating a peach pie. The ledger laid out in front of him across the table. Numbers and numbers running into each other. His chair has a crooked leg. The coffee's gone cold. There's a hand on his shoulder, sudden, giving him a rough shake and something. A pain at his side, into his side. He tumbles to the floor, and his assailant, a human and recognizable man, typically known to be a nice, not mean person, leans over the table, grabs the ledger and the plate of pie. And everything blurs. There was a hand on his shoulder. Gentle, skin the color of amethyst, but now it's pulled away, trembling. She smooths the layers of her skirt, moves on. She doesn't look back at the body. She walks up the stairs, stops. She will not look back at the body. The door is heavy, the air is cold. The ground is wet from an early spring shower. The folds of her coat are soft and warm. She crosses the street, a different building, a side door. She uses the wall to scribble a note, pauses, stills her shaking hands. The stone of the wall is cold. The wood of the door is unfortunately jagged. It's warm inside. Her coat is soft. She finishes the note, drags her hand across the stone wall until a click, and reveals a small closet, pulls out a jacket, a vest, and a tie, pauses, removes a small vial from the jacket's pocket, replaces it with the note. Two knocks on a door down the way. She opens it, and a scraggly-looking elf is immediately replacing his distressed clothing with the jacket, vest, and tie. She walks off. She goes to an office a few turns over, pulls out a key from her own pocket, opens the door, smacks the inside of a smooth wooden desk. Out pops a drawer. She places the vial inside the drawer, locks the office on her way out, stops, checks again that it is locked. And from there, down another few hallways, a set of stairs, another pause. And in her mind, she approaches a door, a silent conversation coming to a close. She says, silently, "Thank you so much for being our go-between. Please tell Azalea to be so good to see her. Safe trip." The amethyst of her skin dulls to a dusty lilac, her eyes light up, and the small mushroom-esque cap atop her head seems to pop out a little further, almost the shape of a large hat. The stone of the wall, the wood of the door, the ruffles of her coat are warm, and the doorman interrupts her, says he thought she was already inside. Huh, weird. Lets her through to the party, where she finds a halfling man at a crowded table. She sits beside him, tilts her head so her large cap shields them from view, and answers a question that he hasn't asked. That the lady who just walked in, she'll gush to him that she's loving the circular landscape, but really she's spiraling for a higher view of the city. And that he was right. Bawam won't be making it tonight. You're going to hear it was out-of-towners, but that's a mere rumor. It's a real shame because he was saving handfuls and handfuls to buy a plate tonight. She drops the office key into his coat pocket, pats it twice so he knows it's there. The drink now in her hand is cold. She wills that hand to stop shaking. The drink is cold, the table is smooth, the coat beside her is felt, the air is stifling, and now she's at a festival. Her cap trimmed a bit smaller, atop coppery tremella fungus waves, sitting in front of another peach pie.
Circle. So Who is this character sitting here? What's her name?
Who is this character? This is Morella Tremel.
Morella sits in front of a freshly baked, delicious peach pie. Her boss, Keeve Silkstone, just across the way and a few chairs down, has his own pie, his apple. The smell of all the different fruits wafting up from the steaming pies hits everybody's nose, and more than a few mouths start to water as Cooper, the master of ceremonies, takes his place at the beginning of or at the front of the pavilion. Well, now, it does look to me that everybody's gotten their pies. Shall we get started? The crowd roars. The noise is not deafening, but loud, mixed with laughter and shouts, and all the general merriment that's already begun as people have started getting into their cups bright and early. Now, on my mark, you will have 5 minutes to eat as much pie as you can. Rush through it or don't. Win or lose, just make sure you enjoy those delicious pies that our chefs have been working so hard on all day. How about 3, 2, 1. Begin! Now, Morella, you have a heavy peach pie sitting in front of you. How do you go about this?
Slowly, with grace.
Now, I do think that some of you might have gotten the message a little better than others as I look around. I see apples flying through the air. Oh, watch out, that's a cherry that landed on your hat. You might want to clean that up. Try to keep the destruction inside the tables, folks, but some of you are eating just daintily. That's your right, of course. You can enjoy your pie any way you like, but you're not going to win that way. I would like you to in addition to being the premise for our first question of the campaign, give me our first roll of the campaign as we see, how well your careful eating of the pie holds up in comparison to some of the more ravenous and barbaric strategies going on around you. So I think what this calls for is a finesse roll. That said,
I would agree with that.
You can tell me what your goal is here. What are you trying for? Are you just eating for the sake of it, or are you secretly rushing while you work, just trying to maintain dignity while you do it?
Really, she doesn't want to be in a pie eating contest right now. But her boss waved her over, so she's here. So yeah, she will maintain her dignity, and she will eat slowly with a fork this peach pie, which I rolled a 15 with fear.
15 with fear. All right. For those of you at home who are unfamiliar with Daggerheart, let me take a quick moment to explain what just happened. Rolls in Daggerheart are a little different than what you might be used to if you're used to Dungeons and Dragons or other TTRPGs, tabletop games that take inspiration from it. Rather than roll the traditional D20, our players will be rolling a pair of D12s. So we call these duality dice in Daggerheart, and one of them denotes hope, and one of them denotes fear. When they roll their dice, they will give me the total, hope die plus fear die, and that decides whether or not they pass the test based on the difficulty of the check. In addition, the dice will also tell us whether they rolled with hope or fear, or in the rare chance of a crit, when the dice are equal. So, if they roll with hope, things are a little better. If they succeed with hope, they get a little extra. If they fail with hope, it's not as bad. But if they roll with fear, as one just did here, success sours and failure turns into disaster. So, with a nice middle ground here, we have a success with fear. So that means that the success isn't as successful as someone might hope, but it's still a success. And additionally, the GM gains a fear. So hope and fear, by the way, are consumable resources in Daggerheart. Fear belongs to the GM and powers my abilities and my NPCs and creatures. Hope belongs to the individual players and powers their abilities and their ability to leverage their experiences and histories to overcome challenges. Whenever we roll with hope or fear on an action roll, one or the other is going to go up. In this case, it was fear, which brings me up to a total of 6 fear, as I started with 1 fear for each player at the table. A 15 with fear, as I said, is a success. Morella is able to eat surprisingly quickly through the pie. I don't think it's her focus in the slightest. She is being very careful, very dainty. Not a bit of peach goes wasted. There is no flying food or crust like so many of her competitors around her are. And in fact, there are some bits of pie crust that you can see on her shoulder and her hair from some of the more ravenous competitors. That said, Morella, in the 5 minutes, takes the time to kind of center herself. And she might not want to be here, but at the end of the day, it is a delicious pie, and there are a few distractions in the world so good as fresh baked goods. The pie is 2/3 done by the time the 5-minute mark passes, and Morella herself seems surprised by that reaction. It sits like a lump in her stomach, in all honesty, but it was delicious, and she does feel a little better at least. Well, will you look at this? Will you look at this? Oh, boy. It does appear that we have a winner. Now, some of you have put in better efforts than others. I cannot deny. But I must say, I have never seen pie eaten like I have seen today from these two. And he points to at the top of one of the tables, sitting opposite each other, a half orc on one side, broadly muscled, dressed in leather armor, probably a mercenary or guard of some sort, sitting across from an odd creature, a ribbit, a frog person, who his long tongue is licking up pie detritus around his wide mouth, and as he grins next to the orc, who just kind of looks a little put out, but with a small smile on his face. And it is what was that name again, son? Kibito here, with 4 blueberry pies to his name, going home as the champion of the pie eating contest this year. Welcome. We will remember you well, son, as we continue our remembrances. Here are your vouchers. The prize booth is right over there. Please do check in before you leave, because it won't be staying. Nonetheless, I need a bit of time as we get over to our next event. So please mingle as you will and look around. But do follow your nose, because our next event's got a bit of food to it too. Now, I know, those of you who just partook in the pie eating contest, you got no room, but that's okay. This is going to take a little while. This is slow cooking at its finest. We have a stew cooking competition going on. Now, we didn't plan it this way, but we've only got 3 contestants, and all of them are professional chefs from here in Guides Out. So I think you're in for some fun there. We'll be back in just a minute with some more information on that. Morella, now pie eating contest passed. You have a moment to yourself, or with your boss as needed, if you need.
I will just give him a look because he knows and turn to go.
Sure.
So I am searching for a contest of some kind involving a greased dinosaur.
You can see there is a set of pens that have been put up in an area on the street that have been filled with dirt and water, creating a mud pit here in the middle of the Gaiatel street. And you can tell that this is where the event will be taking place, but it's still being put together at this point. That said, you can certainly wait around for the contestants to make their way there in short order. All right now, gather round. As I said, our next event is going to go all day. We are going to, or, well, to be fair, I think it's been going all day, unless I miss my guess. I think our chefs get to remember while they cook. That's just a necessity of the process, I'm told. Now, as I said, we have 3 excellent chefs here, and Cooper walks up to an area where 3 kitchens have been supplied, and there are 3 individuals moving around 3 large cauldrons that are filled with this bold, savory smell of 3 different stews. Their aromas mixing and appealing to people who are looking for something a little more savory than, let's say, the pies of before. Now, as this event goes on, all you are welcome to come in and try all 3 stews, or one or the other. You do what you want to do. Let your nose follow, lead you. Let your eyes lead you. Take what you want to take. But we're gonna have some judges walking around, talking to people, getting their thoughts, and some secret judges trying the food themselves. So, chefs, be on the lookout. And at the end of the day, we'll take all that feedback and let our judges make a decision as to who made the best stew. Who, for this next year, gets to be the steward of Gaiatel. And the cooking around him continues. And you see the 3 figures going about their work. The first is a large man, a giant, in fact. He has 3 eyes, 2 in the center of his face, the third kind of up and toward the top of his head. Not the most useful spot, depending on what you're doing day to day, but he tends to keep that one closed as he works. He is very delicately stirring and smelling and seasoning. Next to him, there is a slender woman in her late 30s. She is a Qatari, a cat person, for lack of a better term. She has auburn red fur covering her ears and the top of her head, running down into her neck, and claws that retract at the end of her hand that she uses as she cooks to slice and dice and spear hot elements. And she is just cutting furiously at a board next to her pot of stew. Our third chef, however, is the one that we're going to take a moment to focus on. A interesting individual again. A turtle stands in front of his pot, cooking his way through Remembrance Day. Tom, why don't you introduce Tormund?
So, racism, it's not a turtle, it's a galapa. Just want to make this slight correction there. The festival grounds are a mess of noise, smells, too many people. You know, I'm standing there feeling a little bit absurd. Still kind of wearing some, military-ish equipment, some what I had on hand. My cleaver, what I'm using to dice is a cleaver that realistically has seen 3 skirmishes at this time, but it's what I'm used to. Tum, tum, slicing carrots, good stew, chicken. As I'm doing this, I catch the eye of, a couple of kids, cistern brats, Mary, Pebble, some other ones. They're hanging off the fence, just like some colorful flyers, gargoyles, whatever you want, and now holding it like a big sign that says like, "Go Sarge," and not the best handwriting. I really shouldn't have let them talk me into this. Just yesterday afternoon, was basking in the sun a little bit, like any good Galapa would do on a nice hot day. Just closing my eyes, enjoying the day off, and then the whispering. He looks asleep. Is he too old to hear us? I recognize the voice. He's not old, he's seasoned, like an old cast iron pan. A second voice. Mary, Pebble, what's going on? I can hear you both, and whatever you want, I'm off duty. Mary, a small human child, Pebble, a young Galapa, about 2 feet tall, mostly shell at this age. Mary steps forward. Sarge, and she's holding a small parchment. We kind of had a disagreement with some kids, like in the higher quarter, the baker's son, and the one with that fancy hat and everything. He said his dad's stew was amazing, and it's the best, and it makes people want to weep. Yeah, good for him. I hope he brought some extra napkins. Then Pebble steps forward, like trembling a little bit, like a kid who's overacting. He said you'll probably only know how to boil rocks. That the guard doesn't have taste buds, and that he called your stew gray, tasteless. I mean, gray, brown, those are decent colors for soup, Pebble. But we told them you were wrong. They really believed in you. We told them you were so good you didn't even need a hat. And then, well, we might have put our name on the sign-up sheet. The entry fee was 3 copper pieces, Well, it's our candy fund for the festival. Just both of them looking, their lips, twitching. You look at their manipulative little faces, Sorry for the tone switch. I look at their manipulative little faces. You knew they bet their candy money on purpose to get you to do this. Right. All right, then. 3 coppers, huh? Well, that's a lot of taffy to lose. Then back at the festival, chopping carrots, splitting chicken from the bone, adding some potatoes, some onions. You aren't here for a trophy. You're here because those kids wanted you to be. Bullied you into it. And for the taffy. You're muted, Matt.
That gives us an excellent answer as to why. Now, how about the who?
Tormund is a Galapa turtle, to be reductive. He is in the military. He was in Gayatal during the Red Tide. He did survive this. Things happened during that time. He cares a lot about the community, and he really believes in it. He also loves cooking, seasoning.
And our stew today. What is Tormund making for us?
Um, I'm having translation problems here. As I said, it's a chicken, potato, vegetables, uh, water base. So it's not like a very thick soup. It's a lighter, I mean, with a lot of vegetables in it. It'd be a watuzoi, but that doesn't translate.
I'm sure somebody out there knows what that is. If you do, say hi to Tom in the comments and let him know that somebody followed that. I assume it's a lot more than one somebody, by the way.
There's
No,
probably
good.
5 in the world, but yes, like
So let us move on to how good is that stew going to be at the end of all that simmering?
oh, after all that drama and the
So-
lips twitching and the
So I've got a question for you, I suppose. How does Tormund cook? Because in my mind, this could go one of two ways. Either a knowledge roll for our more by the book cooks who have every recipe down to the letter, every measurement memorized, every movement practiced. Or is this an instinct roll? Do you cook a little more on the fly and kind of let your tongue lead you as you go?
there are 2 steps to Tormund's cooking. The first step is laying everything out, a mise en place. Every tool, every ingredient is properly placed, cut, and prepared. The cooking step is much more instinctual. It is adjusted on the fly. The correcting each ingredient is slightly different. A carrot one day might not be the same as the next carrot that you cut. Same with the chicken. So there's a lot more instinct in the application of the cooking after the very military precise layout of his tools.
Then I think the important moment here is the instinct. So why don't you give me an instinct roll and let's see how good this stew comes out.
Can I add an experience?
You can. So let's take that as a segue for a moment. Experiences in Daggerheart are akin in some ways to, let's say, a proficiency from Dungeons and Dragons. However, instead of picking a specific skill that powers up our players, they pick up a background, an experience, a piece of their character's history that defines them, that they can lean on in moments when they need to. This leaves things a little more open-ended, but it does allow for some interesting applications and for some creative thinking from our players. It does cost our players a hope to spend one, so they can't do so on every roll. But Tom, why don't you tell me about the experience you want to leverage right here?
This might be the most straightforward application of an experience ever. It is called Acolyte of the First Seasoning, which is one of the fundamental backgrounds of this character. So might be less applicable in other situations, but in this one, it probably.
So today we have a less open-ended experience, a laser-focused one almost. We'll see how that goes throughout the campaign. I'm sure that will see some much more spread out uses as we get some time to think about it. I love the name. There's some lore there that I'm sure all of you will get to hear at some point. But for now, I think that's fine. Why don't you spend your hope, roll your die, and add your experience? For those at home, an experience by default is worth +2. As characters level, they can increase those bonuses to their individual experiences. But as a rule, usually, especially here at level 1, you will see +2 added to these rolls, as well as the actual skill, in this case, instinct.
21 with hope.
21 with hope. That is quite good. That is a resounding success with hope. The only way we could do better is with a crit. I'm going to tell you that I don't have an answer for you right now. Cooper Coppersmith hasn't judged the event yet, but I can tell you that's an excellent start. And I will be rolling in secret for your other 2 competitors. And
Oh no.
And the result of this cooking competition will come a little later. Let's leave Tormund for now to work over his cauldron to make the stew that so many of our fellow Gaetellans are going to be eating today as the day goes on, as well as his giant and Qatari companions, both of whom I believe he's met at times. Now, at this point, Cooper kind of starts to move away from the cooking venue to an area opened up by a barricade at the end of the street. And you can see that something has been set up in the distance down that path. As Cooper walks, he starts to again yell out, "Hear ye, hear ye! Please pay some attention because we got some more to do. I would like it if all of your eyes, ears, and well, whatever else you got to pay attention could come focus on this end of things. Now, we started off a little explosive with that pie eating contest, and we had a chance to catch our breath as we watched our illustrious chef start to work on that stew that is smelling ever so good. Now, let's go for something a little more lethal, a little more exciting. Now, I know, not everybody here is a big fan of violence, but everybody here at the end of the day can at least appreciate what those guards in the tower do for us. And for that, why, it's time for the archery competition. We gonna get shooting, boys and girls? So, let us, if you would, come with me to this barricade that we have set up. Now, these ladies, gentlemen, and what have yous here with me, and he points to a group of about 24, all of whom have been provided with a quiver of arrows and a bow from the festival's stock. Nobody's using anything special or, particularly nice. These are, in fact, the bows of the Gaetellan Guard on loan for this event. If you would be so kind as to look beyond this barricade, just down that street, about 50 yards down the way, you will see 3 targets. Each one of you fine folks will have a chance to take your bow and make 1 shot. You point out which target you want to hit. We don't want any random luck getting into it. And the 10 best shots out of this group will move on to our next stage of the competition. How does that sound? Let us get to the point and get shooting right off the bat. And with that, he pulls over an individual. A taller elven man. Now, I want to introduce my friend Kian here. Now, Kian, he's the champion from last year, the year before that, and the year before that. So, here to defend his title and try for the 4th time. Let's see if Kian can make a shot. And without really taking a moment to think, Kian draws his bow, draws his arrow, knocks, pulls, looses, and hits one of the targets that he had pointed to downstream, dead center. Well, I don't know about all you, but I think that's going to get him to the next round. But let's see what else the competition has to do. And now we'll take a moment to focus again on one of our competitors. A simia, a monkey-human hybrid creature of sorts. I'll just let John describe him, if you would.
Yeah, so monkey-human hybrid is a good short way of saying it, to be honest. He is a little taller, stretching to almost the whole way to 6 feet. Very long, thin arms and legs. Also has a long, thin tail, which comes in very handy, as you'll see in a second. And kind of, covered with short, black, little bit of gray tint to it, fur, not through age, might be hard to tell. It's just his natural coloration. And he steps up, draws the bow, and takes a deep breath. And here's our flashback. You see the same Simia, younger, just really kind of approaching adulthood. And he is kind of stalking through the lower limbs of a very, very dense jungle environment. There is another Simia, also male, with him, behind him, guiding him, teaching him, telling him to slow down a little bit, and pointing out where the bird they are hunting is on a tree up ahead. And you see him draw the bow, the older Simia's hand on his shoulder, and that one says, now, breathe. He takes a deep breath in, a deep breath out. The older Simia says, again, same process. Says one more time, same process. And as he gets to the end of the exhale, on the third cycle, the older Simia says, now. And he releases. Dead center in the bird. They go over, grab it, shake it off a little bit, start taking it back to clean it. And you just see the older one kind of clap his hand on the younger one's shoulders, like he's proud. And I will come back out of my flashback and fire my arrow at the target.
Now, there's been a lot of other rolls here, but this one's pretty straightforward. This is a dexterity action roll. Or, I'm sorry, agility action roll.
Well, with hope.
12 with hope. All right. So I will admit this one doesn't have a strict check. I rolled ahead of time to get the rolls of the individuals who would be competing, and we need to see where things would line up. I'm sorry. What is your character's name, John?
His name is Tambid.
Tambid.
Tambid Nimblespring.
Tambid, thinking back to learning how to shoot as he focuses on this competition, looses the arrow a little awkwardly. He feels that the moment he lets go of it, as most people who compete in these kinds of sports can, and you see him wince as he kind of steps away without even watching. It hits the target he marked, but not at the center. He's about a solid inch to the side. Not a bad shot by any mark, but you can tell that Tambid is unhappy with it. That said, by the end of the first round, Tambid is in rank 9. Not last of the people moving forward, but close to it. And Tambid can't really help but feel that as he moves on to the next stage, as Cooper now starts to announce the next step in this competition. Well, now, we've got you 10 fine shooters who are left here. Now, how about something a little more challenging? And he points at the targets on the ground and then raises his hand, pointing up. And up in the street above, dangling between buildings on either side, is a rope line held relatively taut. And dangling from that is another target. This one, not much smaller than the one on the ground, to be honest, but it is about 25 yards further out and about 30 yards up into the air. Oh, and it's moving, being slid side to side by ropes leading into the buildings. Well, that looks like a more challenging test of your skills, don't you think, son? Oh, but... Oh, no. Oh, Lord, what is that? As Cooper looks up, more lines have crossed the buildings. It looks like some lady's put her laundry out. And a number of sheets of different colors are now hanging across in various positions between the shooters and the target. Oh, and where is that wind coming from? I swear, this is the calmest day we've ever seen. And then magical gusts of wind are added to the mix that flap the sheets back and forth, only allowing sight up to that target in specific moments as things line up. Well, I guess there's nothing for it. Can't have her bring her laundry before it dries. Well, you take the day as it is, windy or not. So our 10 fine archers here are gonna have to go forward from here and make their shot. First round for this challenge is to just hit that target. I'll be honest, I think that's enough. If at least 3 of you can hit that target, you 3 will move on to the finals. Now, if not, we'll take less if we have to. How about it? Archers to the line. And once again, my friend Kian here is going to take the first shot. This time, Kian steps up with his bow and pauses for a moment. You see him kind of close both eyes for a moment, breathe, pull the bow and the arrow, nock it, and look up. You see his eyes tracking through the fluttering curtains between him and the target. You see him draw and aim and wait and loose. And this one lands, but not dead center. It slices up in between 2 fluttering cloths, but hitting a third, and the energy it loses cutting through that cloth sends the arrow off kilter where it lands. This time, about an inch off center. You see Kian grimace at the shot, but Cooper, what a fine shot! Look at that. We've got a finalist on the first go. How about it? Now, how about the rest of you take a shot, and we'll see where we're going to go. Let us fast forward to Tam's turn. This time, I need a finesse roll.
Yes. All right. I gotta see what my finesse is. I think it's 1.
I will,
All right.
I think, allow, if you wish. Well, I'll listen to your argument here. What do you think the roll should be?
No, I'll be honest. I mean, finesse does sound not wrong. Because we're trying to get through the obstacles as opposed to just hit the thing. I don't have any objection to finesse. I just didn't
Alright.
remember what my bonus was.
All right. Finesse it is. Let's see the roll.
He will take his deep breath in, deep breath out, and release at the end of the exhale. Uh, 17 with hope.
17 with hope. Okay. This is a better shot. Tam feels at the moment he lets it go. He waits a long time before he takes his shot. Just watching, listening, hearing the crack and the snap of the fabric in the air, watching both the target and the cloth move. And finally, on an exhale, he lets his shot go, and it flies not around, but through, dead center of a flat sheet in the air, but somehow manages to maintain and hits, if not dead center, just above it on the target. The rest of the shooters fail to do as much as that, leaving us with 2. Well now. It looks like we have a shootout. Now, you might be thinking, how do we go from here? How do we make this more exciting? And with that, Coop turns away from the alley you guys have been shooting down and faces back to the center of the plaza. And he points. Do you all see that carousel that's been set up in the middle of the... Yeah, now, I hear you gasping out there. Don't you worry. All the precious cargo, as it were, all the little ones have been moved away, and we have cleared the space. But if you two, and what's your name, son? You're sitting up here with Kian, our 3-time champion. Let the crowd know your name.
My name's Tam.
Tam and Kian here. Do you see that carousel? More importantly, do you see those 5 gold rings hanging from the top of it? From those little silk ribbons? There's 5 of them. Red, blue, orange, green, and purple. The 5 colors of Vesir, each with a golden ring. Now, Hefna, we got all the little ones off that carousel, so you can really let her fly now if you want. And as he says that, the carousel starts to spin, not just faster, but unevenly, causing the hanging rings to shake in the air, to bounce back and forth as the shakes come. Now I've got 5 rings hanging up on that there carousel. And I got 2 of you. First to 3 wins. And with that, he steps back and says, "On my mark. Get set. Fire." Okay, Tam, I'm open to your thoughts on how you're going to attempt this.
I think what I would try to do is I would take a second. I would begin that same breathing process, that rhythm. I would try to find a point where, as it goes, as the rings bounce, where it aligns at one spot, any ring, and I will try to do the same. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Try to time that.
I'll give you your choice here. This can be an agility roll. This can be a finesse roll. This can be an instinct roll.
I'm gonna go with agility.
Yeah.
$15, also with hope.
15 with hope. That first shot goes wide. But so does Kian's. You were both aiming for different rings, as it were. And, you know, you think you learned something as you watched that, you know, you were right. Your instincts are good. That moment of bounce when the ring is no longer tethered and just sitting in the air is the most still it's going to be as this goes. And you feel good about that. Make your next shot with advantage. Advantage in Daggerheart is given, or disadvantage for that matter, not as an additional attempt to roll the same roll, but by adding a d6 and then either adding it or subtracting it from the total.
Okay, that's objectively worse. With the advantage, 10 with fear.
10 with fear. That one, take on a fear.
Did you say it's objectively worse with the advantage?
Yeah, even the advantage, I rolled so crap that I'm
Oh, I
still
see.
Even
well
with
below.
the advantage. he
Right.
means, I believe.
Yeah, sorry, I was confused for a second.
All good. Yeah, so that is certainly not going to get you anywhere. And what's more, it's going to give advantage to Kian as he attempts. But he misses too. Take your next shot. This is a difficult challenge. Now,
And we're back.
we're
to this
not going to be
roll, right?
sitting here all day, just so you know. This goes on too long, we'll go to sudden death. So no, you maintain your advantage. You still have that
Yeah, I'm
earned
still doing the
knowledge.
same thing. Okay. Mm. 20,
What was that? I lost the back end of it.
21 with fear.
With fear. Okay. I'm going to take that fear. 21 with fear. Tam takes a long moment for his next shot. You can see beads of sweat starting to drip down his forehead as he just holds the bow drawn, watching and waiting for that moment. And then finally, when he looses it, the arrow goes so perfectly through the ring, you almost can't tell it did. But the eyes of the judges mark the shot. A blade on the end of a long stick is used to cut the ribbon to take that ring out of contention as it passes by the judges. And Coop goes wild. And there we have it, the first shot of the finals of this archery competition. Putting Kian behind the 8-ball, we have Tam with the first ring, taking that red Thalkir ring right off the carousel. Oh, and I spoke too soon. Will you look at that? Kian follows up immediately after with the shot right through the green ring. That one's down 2. We are down to 3 rings left. Make your next shot.
I feel like it's gonna hit 25 with hope.
25 with hope. Tam knocks again, this time relaxing, starting to fall into a rhythm. He found that last one, and he's just kind of riding that experience as he takes the shot. He knocks, he pulls, he looses. This time, again, right through the center so fast it barely even makes the ring jingle. The purple ring has been tagged. Another pole arm comes through to cut it down, leaving 2 rings left on the carousel. Kian, looking over with a bit of an arrogant smirk, follows up with a shot immediately afterwards and looses. And he hits the blue ring, but he doesn't go through it. Oh, that's not going to count. A bad shot from our champion there. The score is now, for those watching, 2-1. Let's see where this goes. Give me another shot.
Only 1 with hope.
Excellent. Tam now feeling absolutely ready and probably giving just an arrogant of a smirk right back to Kian as he sets this off, pulls up one more shot, and barely even glancing lets it off and it flies straight and true through the orange ring, the Packlands ring. It is cut off, leaving a single ring, the blue of Quetel, hanging from the carousel. The crowd goes wild, and Coop. And there you have it! Our champion, our Kian, 3-time champion, has been defeated. This young, skilled Tam is our new archery champion of Gaiatel for this next year. Let's hear it for Tam! And the crowd goes wild, and this Coop kind of walks up to you and slips out of his pocket. And here you go, son. That's 5 vouchers for the prize booth. You use that in good health.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I'll turn to Kaon and just offer him my hand. Nice shooting, man.
He looks at you, and there's a look of distaste on his face, but he just kind of shakes his head, and it was a good shot. Shakes your hand. Next year. Well, wasn't that exciting? Now, we've got something a little slower for you next, but it's going to take me a minute to make my way over. So, once again, take your time, mingle around, and do what you want. I do think the stews are being served. If you want to get over there and try a bowl of some of our illustrious chef's stew of the day, don't forget to put your votes in. Thank you. I'll be back with you shortly. Go celebrate. And Cooper disappears from the public stage for a minute as he steps into a building to go about whatever he's doing. Tam, what are you doing? And to our other two characters thus far, Tormund, Morella, you also have a moment here if you would like to get up to anything.
I'm also intrigued by the dinosaur catching event, but first I'm going to get some food. So I'm going to go to the stews before I go to try to watch the dinosaur catching.
The dinosaur catching is more set up now than it was previously. The mud pit is fully stocked. There is a enclosure, not huge, but large enough that you could probably fit like a pony in there or something, that is completely covered in black cloth, and you do occasionally hear kind of a sound from in there. You see some of the judges talking to some individuals about it, but it's still in the works. As the the dinosaur chasing will be up soon. But as we take that moment, we once again hear Cooper's voice shouted over the crowd. Now, we have had some delicious food and some excellent shooting. Now, for something a little more relaxed, but nonetheless impressive. Now, these folks have been working at their task for the better part of the last hour. We have given each of these competitive whittlers a piece of wood and a knife to see what they can make. Now we're going to go check in and see what's coming out. And as such, Cooper makes his way over to another area where the scent of wood and sawdust hits your nose, and the sound of small knives on pieces of wood doing very delicate work at this stage in the competition are carving whatever they're carving out of their provided piece of wood. Of particular note, are two individuals as they work on their wood. One is a brute of a Dracona. That's Daggerheart's version of Dragonborn. He is a large Dracona with broad shoulders and sapphire blue scales, and he has opted not to use the provided knife, just using his own claws as he cuts away at some kind of elaborate symbol. It's hard to tell exactly what it is, but there are quite a few people who are kind of watching this giant of a man, who, by the way, is carrying a sword roughly the size of Tam on his back, just very delicately working away at this. Next to him is another competitor who is drawing a lot of attention and does draw Coops as he approaches. And oh, well, you look at this. One of my favorite shopkeepers here in Gaiatel seems to be taking part in our festivities this year. That is Marlena. For those of you who don't know, she runs Good Bones, a thrift shop here in the city. You stop in and she'll see to any of your needs, fungal related or not. I promise you tell her the Coop sent you, and Marlena will take good care of you. Marlena, what are you carving there? And Coop leans in, and the fungal woman just kind of pushes him back with the back of her hand, shoos him, and smacks him in the nose. And all right, I'll wait till the reveal. Fine. And so as we watch our contestants, about a half dozen who have all been working diligently at their carvings, we focus on a third contestant, an older human gentleman. Mullet, why don't you introduce us to Belu?
Sure. So Belu is at his station at the in this little carving setup that they've got. He's a human man in his mid-40s, probably. Subtle streaks of gray running through his brown hair. He's large in stature, but not like a hulking figure. More like a physique that's been formed over a lifetime of honest work in the fields. And then more recently, sort of more honed by quite a bit of travel on foot. He wears a sort of a faded green shirt. It has all the familiar hallmarks of an old favorite item of clothing, right? Clearly less vibrant in color than it once was, but well maintained. So he holds the knife in one hand and the block of wood in the other. His bright gray eyes are drawn to the flame of a nearby brazier, and his mind kind of drifts back to another time. It's evening years ago. The day's work is done, fields have been tended, animals have been fed, and the firelight is dancing along the walls of a small home. And he hears a woman's voice who softly asks, "Another one?" As he glances down at the half-formed piece of wood in his palm, and it's a fox, or maybe a dog. It's something small enough that it could fit in a child's grasp pretty easily. And just this one more, he says. It's the same thing he always says. And she laughs softly with a warm sound that could really warm this room better than any fireplace ever could. And smiling, she says, "Well, Falkir will run out of trees if you keep this up." And he kind of looks to the area above the hearth. These tiny wooden creatures are really crowding the shelf up there. It's horses with crooked legs and birds with wings that are far too small. And a bear that's just missing an ear completely. He says, "Well, how am I to know which will be their favorites?" And she sort of reaches across where they're sitting and brushes the sawdust off the sleeve. Her fingers linger for a bit, are warm and gentle. She says, "They'll love them because you made them with love. But you should at least slow down until you've actually got one on the way." The fireplace flickers. She goes back to mending this green shirt. She starts humming off key. It's always off key. He hears Coop clear his throat and hears the crowd at one of the other contests cheer, and the memory stings now, just every bit as sharp as the blade in his hand. But Baloo doesn't linger there. He's learned better. He breathes through it. Slow in and slower out. Now fully back in the present, he glances at the wooden shape that's emerged in his hand. It's a small animal. He hadn't meant to make one, but he never really does. He kind of finishes his final cuts on the wood, rests at the palm of his hand. It's smooth and it's simple. It's not perfect, but it was made with care. And he sets it down gently among the other entries.
Beautiful. Let's see how well Baylor did. Now, I'm sure he did more than well enough for anybody's like, but you know what we do here? I think this is time for a finesse roll, unless you have an argument otherwise.
I can't think of anything better than finesse for whittling. It is a 12 with hope.
12 with hope. It's a well-made small creature.
He's not very good at it.
It's a without thinking about it, it's this little boar that Belu remembers seeing once, and that he never got around to carving for that collection that sits on the top of his or sat on the top of his hearth. And he looks at it and smiles as he thinks back to that time and looks at what his hands have made here. It's not going to win the competition. Looking over, you can see both Morella's and, or sorry, not Morella's, Merlina and the Conics drawing creations are both just wonderful little works of art, highly detailed, highly skilled. Belu's not bad. It's just he was somewhat destined for third place in this one. But that doesn't mean he can't feel satisfied and a little happy to put his hands to wood again. As this continues, Coop does announce the winners, and he extols the virtues of all the pieces. And he even takes a moment to pick up Belu's as he looks at it. And, well, this isn't a winner, according to the judges. But I'll be damned if I don't love it. Belu, was it?
Yes, that is correct.
Can I give you a gold coin for it?
Oh, yeah, I would be pleased if you would like to have it. It is yours.
Thank you very much, Belu. We've got some real works of art here, but this one speaks to me. And he passes it to an aide and tells, and you can see him like saying, "Put it somewhere." And he does take a coin out of his pouch and just sits it next to you. And for the effort, well done.
That's messy.
Now, everybody, if I could have your attention, we are approaching the ultimate event of the evening. We're not there yet, but we are approaching. Prior to the battle royale that I know so many of our contestants are looking forward to, we have one more piece of entertainment for you. A real prize from the Packlands, I'm told. Now, I'm told this creature is called a Trihorn. I've never seen one myself, but he has been staying with me at my estate these last few days, and I've grown a little warm on this little sucker, even if he does keep eating my shoes. Now, this scaly little boy is not full grown. My understanding is that he will be much bigger when he gets there. But for the moment, he's a cute little manageable boy. And he'll make an excellent target for our last event. Now, most years, I know this is Catch the Pig. But we couldn't resist when this little guy came along. Now, I know, I keep calling him this little guy, and I wanted to give him a name too, and I'm sorry, but I was told, no ifs, ands, or buts about it, he is too young for that. That's just not how it's done. So, this little guy has been greased up and worked into a frenzy of play, and he is ready for all of his new playmates to enter that old mud pen right there and chase him down. And Coop points to the mud pen where some of our adventurers have already been gravitating to, looking forward to the greased dinosaur hunt. Standing around the mud pen are 6 individuals, all of whom are watching closely as the pen door is opened, and released out into the muddy pen is a young Triceratops. It's about a foot tall, thick, pretty strongly muscled by the looks of it. Horns still pretty short. They appear to be dull at this point. And he has been thoroughly greased up in something. The sheen to him is quite obvious from the flickering lights of the torches around the pen. Now, my understanding is those horns shouldn't be able to hurt any of you, but do be careful. And I'd say don't hurt the little boy, but I'll be honest, I don't think a single one of you has it in him. He's a tough son of a bitch. So, on my mark, I want all 6 of you to jump in there. And you take turns, you go out all you want. You do you as long as you don't hurt each other or him. And whoever catches it wins. Now 3, 2, 1, begin! And as he says it, all 6 adventurers leap up over the railing into the pit, and you see the Triceratops, the Trihorn, seem kind of very excited to have all these new playmates. And kind of drops down, almost like a dog bowing to play, looks at all of them, and he starts to just run around, tromping around, spitting up dirt, and kind of braying with fun as he starts to run around. And all 6 of our contestants start diving for him, and quicker than you can say it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of our contestants have dove in and just slid right off of our slippery little 7th contestant, as it were, as he continues to tromp around, kicking his legs joyfully and just crying out as the crowd laughs and Coop cheers him on. That's right, boy, you show them. They ain't got what it takes to catch you, do they? And it is at that moment that our 6th individual decides that they have seen enough. Take a bit of a running step and leap toward the Trihorn, planning to land on him. So now, in midair, let's take a moment to introduce Azalea. Josh.
So as Azalea dives towards the Trihorn, there's like a record scratch. Yep. That's me. I bet you're wondering how I got into this situation. My name is Azalea Moonsmile. I am a water druid, student of Elder Brook, traveler of very wet places. A few weeks ago, Elder Brook sent me off on my first druidic errand, my water walk. All the water druids from Speaks Rock do it. You travel around Vesir, visit the sacred pools, say hello to spirits, try not to fall in the water, that sort of thing. Mostly it just means that we've been walking a lot, swimming a lot, and talking to frogs. The frogs remain deeply unhelpful. When my path brought me near Gaitel, I rode ahead to my oldest friend Morella. We met years ago when she needed help with the Chone colony near my home, Speaks Rock. And ever since, we've been writing back and forth about shopping and foods and different things, and whose turn it was to visit whom. She actually wrote me back, which was lovely. She told me to make absolutely sure that I arrived in time for the 10th Remembrance Festival for a, quote, good time. It's an exact quote, which sounded very promising. So I came early, I followed her directions, found the festival, followed the music, smelled the food, but then I found the games. Apparently one of the traditional events is Catch the Pig, but this year I saw the sign said Greased Up Dinosaur, which no other questions need be asked by me, so I walked that way. And so here I am, trying to catch this dinosaur. I've turned into bears and birds, fish, and briefly even a very confused goat before, but ever in my life have I turned into a dinosaur, which means technically this is research. So now I'm diving here into the festival competition, trying to catch the greased up dinosaurs. Worst case, I lose the game. Best case, I find Morella and I'm a little bit greasy. But I could win the festival prize, and worst case, I get to pet a dinosaur. And the action resumes as you see this fawn druid jumping with a little bit of grease on her, slipping and sliding through, trying to catch the Trihorn.
Do you have an approach in mind for how you're going to wrangle this?
I think that Azalea is going to try to have fun with it first before she tries to actually, use any of her would-be druidic abilities to win this competition. I think they want to try to win it through their own merit.
If that's the case, then let us start with a natural roll, a roll that doesn't take a lot of thought or planning. Give me instinct.
19 with fear.
Team with fear. Oh, I'd like to say that you slip and slide and make a mess of yourself all over this compound, and have a slightly more exciting process that we're going through here. But the truth is, a 19 with fear, that does it. Just you've been around enough creatures in the past. You know what a playful pup is like, and you see that similarity here with this Trihorn. And you just you watch and you wait and you let your own instincts take control, and you time it just right that you come in wrapping your arms around the creature in a way that you manage to get in between its forelegs, allowing you to get an actual bit of grip that it can't be greased off quite as quickly before your hands come around it and lock into it. You don't have it for long. And it's not the strongest grip in the world, but you do lock hands around it, stop the Trihorn, who kind of looks up at you happily for a second, kind of panting, trying to see what this new step in the game is all about. And the crowd goes wild, and Coop from the side, "Well, I'll be a Trihorn's uncle. I didn't expect it to go that easy. We usually have to watch this pig chase these folks around for a good solid half hour before somebody pulls it up. But my golly, Miss, what is your name over there with the Trihorn?"
Azalea wipes some grease off of her face and cheek, and my name's Azalea.
"Well, Azalea, I haven't seen you before, but what an entrance to the show. I did not expect that to go as quick as it did. Well, I see my boy had a good time. We will put him off to the side. And those of you
I kiss him on the forehead before he walks away.
And he gives a kind of happy sound as you...
Bye.
And Azalea, if you would like to see the little tyke again, we can probably arrange that. Just you let me know when you have a moment. And of course, here are your vouchers, and he hands you 5 vouchers for prizes as well. Now, if you'll excuse me, Miss Azalea, very impressive performance, very impressive. Looking forward to seeing more out of you, but I have the big event to go get started. And he looks around at everybody around. If you'll all give me just a short period of time, I know you've all been looking forward to it. I know half of you were only here for it. The Ceasefire Remembrance Afternoon Party Craptacular Battle Royale. We have 3 dozen guardsmen and guardsmen adjacent folk who think they can handle a weapon, who have been granted dulled, magically so, dulled weapons, bit of padded armor, and they're going to go congregate in that little arena we've been making up. And they're going to fight till it's over. Which is to say, until one person remains standing. Now, they can lose by getting knocked out. They can lose by getting pushed out. Or they can give up. But that's all. So you folks who are heading into that their arena, you better be ready for anything. Because the big prize is waiting for whoever comes out at the top on that one. Now, like I said, we're still doing some setup. We're still double-checking all the weaponry. It'll be a little bit before they're ready. So why don't all of you settle in, try the stew, let us know what you think, and tune back in when you have a chance. And with that, we'll take a step away from the MC as he again fades into a nearby building to go about his work. And we see Azalea slightly greasier than before, but not a complete mess given how quick that was taken care of. And looking up from her position inside the pen, she sees her friend, Morella.
Morella, is that you?
Uh-huh.
Hi, darling. How are you?
I told you I wouldn't miss it.
Did you see the dinosaur? I can't believe there's actually a dinosaur here. I've never seen one.
Well, you just have to stay here more, I guess.
Well, that might be possible now. I've had to leave Speaks Rock for quite some time. Well, we're together now, so what do you have in mind? What should we go do? Is there anything else we'd like to participate in?
Nothing involving food, please. I got kind of roped into a pie eating contest.
Oh, did you win?
No.
Oh, that's a shame. I did win, as you saw.
So when are we stealing the dinosaur?
I don't want to steal the dinosaur. You seem very happy, but I may want to turn into
Come on,
the
take it
dinosaur.
on the road.
Maybe later.
Just think about it.
I will.
I know some people.
That's terrifying.
And I wink like it's a joke, but it is not a joke.
Azalea just kind of smiles flatly. Well, you said you had a friend that you wanted to introduce to me. Is that true?
Me with a friend?
Well, a colleague, perhaps? I don't know. His name was Bellew or something?
Oh, yeah. I think he was Whitland today.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Friend's a little familiar.
Fair enough. Well,
More, I've seen him, and I think you could have a conversation or two.
so you've watched this stranger from afar and have never actually spoken to them? Is that what actually this friend is?
This describe most of my friendships, yeah.
That's true. Well, if you think he may be a friend, then I'm willing to trust you.
Yeah, sure.
Lead the way.
And as Morella and
Over somewhere over here, and I'll just wander and take the longest possible path getting there.
as
The delay
Morella
would is sure to be an awkward meeting, as she is not actually very friends with this person.
As Morella leads Azalea somewhat roundaboutly to Belu's location, still over by the whittling station, as he kind of just takes in the air of the evening. I just want to let you know, Tormund, that you have finished serving your stew. The crowd has been sated, at least of the three contestants' stews. There is still plenty of food to be had for anybody who is interested and wants to go off and sample everything, but you are free now to move about the festival. Morella and Azalea do make their way toward the whittling area and find Belu kind of lost in thought.
Sorry, my audio cut out for that last part. Was you still passing that to us?
Yeah, so Morella and Azalea walk up to Belu, kind of standing lost in thought near the whittling area, looking up at the sky, maybe a little wistfully.
I nudge Morella. Is that the guy?
Yeah. Yeah, see, he's got that kind of lonely look. I figured, you're in town. You wanted to meet some more people.
And
There's a lonely guy for you right there.
That's very kind. I suppose I could offer my friendship to lonely people. Okay, follow my lead. Just act like you've met him and he's forgotten you. He looks like he could be a somewhat older gentleman, perhaps. I'm not quite sure. But just pretend that you've met him and he's forgotten and you're very, very offended. How's that?
Well, I was sort of thinking I could stay back here and you could just,
Well, if I have to talk to strangers, you do too.
Oh, I'm not good at talking.
I just pick up a pebble and I throw it at Baloo, and then when he looks, I point at Morella.
Wait.
The stranger can hear you speaking. And not quite feeble-minded enough to not hear.
We didn't plan for that.
I was whispering. Take a mental
Perhaps
note.
your voices
Hearing,
carry
it gets
on
better
the
with age.
We managed to find the only quiet part in the entire festival to whisper about a stranger 10 feet from him.
No, the whittling area does not see the same crowd sizes as the dinosaur wrestling.
Well, our apologies. My friend here, Morella, and I'm Azalea. She told me that she may have, people that could be friends, and she wrote to me about it, and we just thought we would introduce ourselves.
I have seen Morella around. We've frequented the same drinking establishments from time to time in the city. Like me, she
See, I told
seems
you I'd get out.
to prefer keeping to herself. But it is nice to meet you. I am Belu. I'll shake my hand.
I shake it back. It's a pleasure to meet you, Baloo. Did you win your contest?
Oh, no. But I believe everyone had a good time. And that is the point of the festival.
Indeed. It is nice to get out and have some fun.
Yes. So are you enjoying the city's festivities?
I've never seen this many people in my life. It's been a little bit overwhelming, but I've found my way easily enough, and yes, I've had a good time. I caught the greased dinosaur.
Oh, congratulations. It's wonderful.
Thank you.
That is wonderful. I understand it is not an easy task.
Oh, no, but perhaps it is easier than eating a bunch of pies, which is what Morella was in the contest for.
Oh, that is also a very impressive feat.
How many did you
I
eat?
didn't win.
Oh, never mind. I was going to lie for you.
Oh,
It's okay.
yeah, it was peach. It's a heavy flavor, right?
Oh, it's very sweet, too.
Peaches can be very filling. I believe the blueberry is typically a bit easier to get down in these things.
Yeah, but my boss, he was at the contest with me and he's allergic to blueberries, so probably good it wasn't that.
I see, yes. Well, it is good of you to take others into account when making decisions. I do not mean to be rude. I have a friend competing in another contest that is close to completion. You are welcome to come with me as I go find him and speak to him. He's a cook. He's making a stew of some kind.
I look at Morella smiling because she just said that nothing involving food. But I say, that actually sounds lovely. I'm quite starved after traveling and then wrestling with a dinosaur. And of course, we are here to make friends. And I look at Morella, but I smile at you, Baloo.
Yeah. Stew is gonna be perfect. Yeah.
Yes, I do not think that eating it is required. It's more of a time of fellowship, which I've seen you around. You and I are alike in that we do not typically uh, go in for much. But on evenings like this, it is probably important to remember a community is a wonderful thing. But
And
this way,
it-
please. Please.
Yes, of course. Lead the way.
I'm going to kind of wander around not knowing where the stew area is and try and kind of look.
So you start moving through the festival, looking for the stew, following your nose more than anything. And you start making your way across some of the canals over a couple streets to the area where the stew is being served still. The chefs have been released, but there are bowls of stew ready for people who want to partake still. Kind of sous chefs still serving out of the remainder in the cauldrons. But all along the way, you find yourself on a bridge crossing one of the canals, and you find standing there Tormund.
Ah, Tolman, my friend, how did you fare in your competition?
I'm sorry, who are you?
Hey, Bilou, we've met. I've eaten at your restaurant several times.
I don't
We've
think we've
had
met.
conversations before.
I'm sorry, who? Ah, I'm joking.
Oh, he's such a kiddo, this one.
Ah, I like to
The
think
anxiety
funny
on
sometimes.
Azalea's face was just growing and growing and growing that entire time.
Now,
I think
Tolman,
I'm funny.
let me introduce you to Azalea and Morella.
Hello, nice to meet you.
How do you do? Tormund, was it?
Yes, Tormund.
I am Azalea, Windsmile, and this is my dear friend Morella.
And these are Miri and Pebble. Are they still around? I imagine so.
I would hope so.
Yeah,
Killer
Hey.
girls.
they get underfoot
Ruffle their
a lot.
heads.
Don't let them sucker you into doing things or buying taffies for them.
One of them is a little girl, right? I missed that part. earlier.
Miri's a girl and Pebble is a little Galapa boy.
Okay.
And Miri's a
I'm gonna kneel
No.
down and I'm gonna use my wild touch to grow a little flower in my hand and give it to them. Here you go. Would you like a flower?
Oh, thank you. That's really pretty.
Oh, it's beautiful, just like you both are.
Oh. And they both kind of giggle and look to each other, and without saying anything, they just take off. Kids being kids, they dash off into the festivities, shouting back, "We'll see you at the results."
Yes. Yes. See you later.
They are lovely, Tormund.
They are a pain in the shell, but I wouldn't trade them for anything. What's up?
No, we were just walking through the festival. I finished various competitions. Wondering how you did in yours.
I don't know. Feel free to go try. Judging hasn't happened yet. But stew's done.
And as you say that, I should take a moment to set the scene so that when I change the scene, it matters. The day has waned on, the afternoon has taken some time as these events have gone past, and the sun is beginning to sink, but still solidly in the sky. The day is a little chilly, but warm. It's early spring, and the sun has, warmed things up well. Although you know that when night comes, the chill will return as it does, and that's why it is so disconcerting when, in the middle of your conversation, as you stand on this bridge over the canal, the glare from the sun, the reflection of the sun on the water, disappears, and the light over the city of Gaiatel fades. There are shouts and screams of alarm. Um, and as you look up, you see something wholly unexpected. One of Vesir's three moons has moved, not where it usually rests in the sky, near the sun but not blocking it, but fully in front of it, creating a solar eclipse centered here on Gaiatel. These aren't unheard of. Not everybody, but plenty of people are aware of what an eclipse is. That said, they are predictable. And this was not meant to happen today. If it had been, you can be sure Cooper would have been talking it up as a moment for the show. And as all of you watch this sudden eclipse, you feel the chill in the air settle in much more rapidly than it should. And then, as the darkness settles in, you start to see the stars in the sky, which also doesn't make any sense, but you can see them. And as you watch, they shift and they change, and there's a pop sound that you can't place. And then the stars all glow green in the sky, a bright, vivid green, the green of fresh growth, the green of spring. And that green light is the only thing that adds light to the city of Gaiatel, aside from the torches and the lights within the city itself, of course. And as you kind of take in this sudden change of scenery, you hear shouts, not of alarm, but of fear. Looking to the left and to the right, you hear scrabbling, scratching noises, followed by several high-pitched howls of a wolf pack hunting, a sound that many of you have heard before, but certainly not within the confines of Gaiatel. And as you look, you see a group to your left and to your right. On your right, a group of Valkyrian priests have kind of put their back to each other, and one of them seems to have drawn a mace off his belt and is kind of talking back at the group behind him, and they're all backing up, and their eyes, you see, are on a creature that looks a lot like a wolf at first, but as you see it step into torchlight nearby, you see that it is not a wolf as you know it, but a creature made up of black spiked vines wrapped together in the semblance of a wolf. The spikes inside of its mouth grown extra long and dripping with some kind of green venom. And the not wolf growls from the back of its throat. And as it does so, three of its fellows come out of the shadows surrounding the group of priests. To the other side of the bridge, you see a group of Dracona. Most of them with blue scales, although one is dressed remarkably well with deep black, almost obsidian-looking scales. And they find themselves also in a predicament. The black one has drawn a sword that he seems to have been carrying, but the rest were unarmed and just kind of put their back to the well-dressed one, seemed to look around trying to guard him. And from out of the darkness around them, 24 small, spindly-looking creatures, humanoid in general shape, but much too slender, step out and start to dash and then walk, and then dash and then walk, not in straight lines toward the group, but around them until they are fully surrounded. And now with that moment, you have a choice. Your group can get to one of these groups in time to help, but maybe not both. And as this is what we do here at Mimic Decision, I think it's time that we get back to our audience and ask you guys if you could give us some help in figuring out what our party is going to do next. That said, we're going to give you some time to think about it as we take our first break, our only break of the night. We'll be gone for about 10 to 15 minutes, and when we get back, we will love to hear your thoughts about whether we should be going to help the priests or the noble. Now, there are consequences and lore, of course, entrenched in that question. Most of which nobody at the table except for me knows. I'll answer some basic questions to the party when we get back, if they have any. But overall, we'll look for your input, and we'll play from there. So thank you, guys. We'll be back shortly. It'll be time for a decision. Hello and welcome back to Mimic Decision. On the other end of our break, our party was standing around at the Ceasefire Remembrance Festival, taking a moment after the events had finished to kind of settle in and introduce each other to some of their mutual friends. As they did so, standing on a bridge over one of the canals of Gaiatel, the sky went dark, the stars turned green, and monsters appeared out of the darkness, both to their left and to their right. On the left side, a Dracana noble and his bodyguards are fighting off a small swarm of long, slender, spindly vine creatures. On the other, a group of Valkyrian priests stand, one of them armed against a group of monstrous-looking wolf-like creatures. When we left, I asked our audience to take a moment and think about who they'd like to see our party help. Do we have any answers?
Yeah, what's going to be the leading vote getter here?
Well,
It's a priest named Studist.
I do think. All right. I was about to. Oh, never mind. I was about to start introducing our tiebreaker methodology, and then suddenly we didn't have a tie, and now we do again. I see vote for the priests. I see vote for the nobles. So as a rule, especially in these early days, when our polls are more likely to run into tie issues. Oh, I lied. Our audience has stepped up and broken the tie for us. We don't need to go to our tiebreaker. We'll set that aside for another time. What that means...
That's good. We don't want the consequences on us.
Yes, so everybody's aware. The tiebreaker means I have to make my players make actual decisions. They each will have turns to make decisions depending on who has gone last and who is present, of course, for a given situation. But as our tiebreaker has been, our need for the tiebreaker has been obviated, it seems like we are going to be helping the priests. So the priests of Valkyr, the group of monotheistic religious followers of the god and the god emperor, or sorry, god king, Octavian Valkyr, are standing against a group of 4 monstrous wolves as the group, maybe with a word, maybe with a glance, make a decision to move over to the right toward the priests to help them. As they do so, our 5th intrepid adventurer, who had been at arm's length, kind of taking in the evening, Tam, sees the group move over and finds himself in a position where he could offer assistance. For those who are new to Daggerheart, combat is where things are going to get both similar and very different from what you're used to from other tabletop RPGs. First and foremost, there is no set initiative order. There is no rolling to see who goes first. As a rule, it is the party's turn until I say it is my turn. either through spending fear or through a few different scenarios that trigger things, the party will, among themselves, be able to choose when they go through what's called taking the spotlight, and they will take their actions, describe them, and their turns will seem very familiar to people who are familiar with Dungeons and Dragons and that sort of thing, but the flow will be somewhat different. We'll explain a bit as we go, but mostly, at least for this combat, it'll focus more as a lesson by example. So, first and foremost, we now have a map. Let me get you some enemies on there. I'll give my group a couple minutes here to reposition your characters from the bridge as you come in to this scenario of... Give me a moment to bring our priests in as well.
Matt, just to let you know, I don't think we have control.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's weird because you should.
We never do. We never really do.
That's very true. I'm glad you understand it, at least. I think I'm fixing it now. Josh, do you have control of yours? Cool. Okay, give me one moment to get that resolved for everybody.
Which is mine?
Morella, the roguey one. I know the tokens on the map, guys, don't yet indicate our characters very well, but we will be adding custom tokens to the game shortly. So hopefully by next session, you'll be able to better visually tell everybody apart. Okay, everybody should have control over your pieces. Take a moment to set your characters where you would like them. On this side of the bridge, or on the priest side of the bridge.
How much positioning movement are you giving us here?
Say within 30 feet of where you started.
That I can still not move my guy. Just pan.
I'm gonna. I think I know the issue. I don't have a way of fixing it, so you'll just have to tell me what you want to do at this point. To start, I'm gonna have you over here, if that's fine, since you were the one not on the bridge to start.
So just to make sure, because I don't want to get this wrong, we moved the right way, right? This is the right side of the bridge. We want to be here.
I wish you luck.
Okay.
Map team.
The party having a moment to reposition, and our map being brought to the fore. That's not right. Sorry. The spotlight is on you. What are you doing?
I guess I'm gonna cast Daggone spell. I'm gonna raise my spear and cast Vicious Entangle.
Okay. How does that work?
Spellcast roll against the target in fire range. On a success, roots and vines reach out from the ground, dealing 1d8 plus 1 physical damage and restraining the target.
Okay.
On a success, you can spend a hope to temporarily restrain another adversary in very close range of the target.
Okay.
So I guess I'm going to go for this middle wolf, and then I'm going to spend a hope to try to get the one in front of Hammerman.
Sure thing. So is it this one we're looking at?
Yeah.
Okay.
14 with fear.
A 14 with fear, that does hit, although I get my fear. And for everybody watching at home, rolling with fear in combat means that as soon as Josh finishes up Azalea's turn here, I will have a turn to spotlight one of my enemies. Go ahead.
Okay, that's 9 damage to that wolf, and then I am gonna spin the hook to restrain the other one if possible.
Okay, so that is 2 wolves restrained, right? These top 2 here?
Correct.
Cool. And that is that a temporary condition? Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay, so I need to spend a so it is my turn. I am going to now spotlight one of our wolves here, one of our unrestrained wolves, as it decides to make an attack at the nearby priest in front of it. So for anybody who is wondering mechanically, our players roll duality dice, 2d12, whenever they make rolls like this. However, the GM is in fact rolling a d20 still. So our odds are slightly different as things go along. Nonetheless, the wolf does manage to sink his teeth into that enemy. Interesting. And because that wolf is in close proximity to the rest of its pack, when I attack, I get to do a little extra damage and I gain a fear. So that is 8 points of damage, which translates into 2 hit point damage on our priest here, who looks substantially worse for wear as the vine wolf.
Actually, interrupt. I'm going to use one of my prayer dice to reduce the damage.
Okay, how does that work?
At the beginning of session, roll number of d4s equal to your subclass's spellcast rate and place them on your character sheet in the space. Blah blah blah. You can spend any number of prayer dice to aid yourself or an ally within far range. You can use spent die, so which is around 100 feet, I think, 30 to 100 ballpark. You can use a spent die's value to reduce incoming damage, add to a roll's result after the roll is made, or gain a hope equal to the result. At the end of the session, clear all unspent prayer dice.
Okay. So what do you got?
I will reduce the damage by 3.
3. Okay, that does in fact take it from 1 point hit point of damage to from 2 hit points of damage, major damage, to 1. Again, for those who don't know what we're talking about, major damage. Daggerheart uses a bit of abstraction when it comes to health for a couple of reasons that I'm happy to talk about at another time. But essentially what it comes down to is that every player and character in the game has a series of thresholds. Minor, major, and severe thresholds are how they take damage. When you are hit by an attack or an effect or anything that deals damage to you, you are dealt a number of raw damage. In this case, the wolf would have dealt... I believe I had said 8, and now we're down to 5 after the reduction of 3. So what we do with that raw number is we compare it to the thresholds, the minor, major, severe. Initially, that 8 damage broke the priest's major damage threshold, major damage, and would have taken 2 hit points of health out of his hit point pool. Instead, Tormund's ability has moved that damage down from the second threshold to the first, and therefore the priest only takes 1 hit point of damage. Tormund manages to, through the power of prayer, quite literally, Tormund is a seraph, a mixture of paladin and cleric abilities here in Daggerheart, to interpose himself into this attack and mitigate the damage on the priest. The priest's side is cut, but not nearly as deeply as it would have been otherwise. Tormund, do you want to tell us how you did that?
Yeah, so what actually happens is Tormund, ghostly wings appear behind Tormund. Wings that crackle like the hearth, like a warm fire, not violently, not energetically, but like a really comforting fire erupt. And like just as the wolf is doing its lunge to attack, just a kind of like light glow happens around the wolf, distracting it a bit and just calming it a little bit. And it's just slightly confused as it goes for the bite, just enough to distract it.
Excellent. So Tormund's wings snap in, blocking the wolf's attack, at least partially, mitigating the damage to the priest. I gained a fear from the ability the wolf used, but that is the end of my spotlight. Back to the party. What do you got?
So Lou's not really used to this kind of thing. He travels from time to time. He's been in an odd scrap here or there, but this is not something that he's seen. Wolf-like creatures made of thorns and vines. It's certainly a bit more off-putting with the sudden darkness. So I think he's going to look for the nearest tent that's been erected here. It's probably going to look for a hammer that was used to drive the spikes into the ground to hold the tent down. So he's going to take a sledgehammer and just kind of... He's probably going to hesitate. He's going to kind of be at the ready. And that's what he's going to do, is he's going to pick up one of the hammers. And that's his turn. I can't hear you.
Matt, you're muted.
I'm sorry. Baloo takes a moment to arm himself and steady himself, get his head in the game before stepping into what looks to be potentially lethal combat. Spotlight's still on the party. Who's next?
I would imagine I can hear this but not see this, so I would rush up to investigate. I think I can get just below where Morella is on the map.
Yeah, you can certainly do that. So Tam springs from his point kind of further back out of view initially, putting himself closer to the action. You are muted, John, if you're talking.
How about now?
Yeah, you're good.
It's weird. It's like when I switch away from this window. All right. Whichever wolf is nearest to me, I'm going to fire at.
Okay, so that is one of our restrained boys. Go for it.
It's a 5 with hope.
Yeah, that is not gonna do it. Although your arrow does land right in front of the snapping jaws of one of the wolves, kind of pushing him back a step, making him a little timid. His eyes kind of move from the priest to you, and you sense that you've gotten his attention, at least off of one of the priests. Spotlight's still on the party. Who's next?
So we haven't seen anything like these before, right?
No, I can't imagine you have.
And they're like made of thorns, like thorns wrapped around.
Yeah, so they're made of vines that have kind of thick black spines coming out of them, and again, that's most present in these like gaping mouths that they've formed, where like they have lots of curved, needle-sharp thorn teeth that are dripping this kind of green venom. That, as you look, you can see seems to have gotten into the priest's wound that too was bit, and he doesn't seem to be better off for it.
Which person looks the scaredest?
Probably the one who was just bitten.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I shouldn't laugh. That's serious. So the one that bit him.
Sure.
I would like to, in this like super now dark with the eclipse and all that, send out these like glowy little spore things, kind of, and they go and they kind of go around the thorny, viney wolf and attempt to enrapture the wolf.
All right, how does that work?
I make a spellcast roll.
Mhm.
On a success, they become temporarily enraptured, and so their target, their attention is fixed on me, narrowing their field of view, drowning out any sound but me. On a success, I can have them mark a stress, and I mark a stress as well.
Okay, neat.
So a spellcast roll.
Sure.
Ooh. Let's see. 10 with fear.
And with fear. That is not gonna do it. The spores work their way over, and you can tell the wolf is being affected as its eyes seem to kind of go wide, and it looks away from its target for a second, and it sniffs at the air kind of inquisitively, but then it shakes its head, and you hear its ears flap, and it just kind of growls, and it does look at you. You have gotten its attention, but it is not enraptured.
I feel like I'm a fear generator.
Yeah,
Do I ever roll with hope?
until you make that character that just rips all the fear out of my pool. Okay, so with that fear, I am going to spotlight that boy's friend, who is going to make an attempt not at that priest, but at the other one next to it. The attack goes wide. The priest just instinctively manages to step to the side as the wolf steps forward, and the one priest who is wielding a mace sees it coming in and swings that mace hard. It isn't much of a hit, but it is a hit, and you see the wolf kind of favoring one of his legs and wincing. Spotlight back to the party. Who's next?
I'll go around. Come around here. To the bottom.
Ormond interposes himself between the priests and the wolves. Go ahead.
Yep. And I will hit him with my halberd.
And big old poleaxe coming swinging down.
Right. Doesn't make much sense that I would have that here. But yeah. Character. Yeah. And I'm going to use Forceful Push, which lets me do a normal weapon attack. And if I succeed, I deal the damage and then I knock them back.
Okay.
Uh, 14 with fear.
14 with fear. I will take my fear, but that is a hit. Roll your damage.
Uh, 11.
Okay, good hit. That is, in fact, severe damage onto this one. Very nice hit. I am going to take my turn, and I'm going to spend a stress now as I spotlight that same one that you just attacked, and he is going to attempt to attack right back at you. That is a 21 to hit.
Yes, that does in fact hit.
So that is going to be 3d4.
Whoa!
16 points of physical damage as the wolf jumps in, and
You said 3d4 and you have 16?
there are modifiers.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
Also, you are vulnerable until you clear at least one hit point as the wolf's venom seeps into your system. For anybody wondering, vulnerable in Daggerheart means that attacks against them will have advantage, which again doesn't mean rolling 2d20. It means rolling 1d20 plus d6. Spotlight back to the party. You're up.
I mean, I would fire again if it's kind of open.
Yeah.
I'll do the same one as that I fired at the last time.
The second one over, you correct?
Yeah.
Oh, no, the closest one. It was the closest one. Correct. So go ahead.
Yeah, closest one to me. I'm trying something weird.
Okay.
If I hit.
I've heard that before.
That's only a 12, but with hope.
12 with hope is a success with hope.
All right, I'm going
The arrow
to burn 3
flies.
hope.
Okay. What's that do?
That allows me to use the same roll against 2 additional adversaries within range
Ooh.
of the attack.
Rapid fire?
It is the name. It's hold them off.
Okay.
Spend 3 hope when you succeed on attack. Roll the weapon to use that same roll against 2 additional adversaries within range.
Okay, you have picked the worst possible roll that would have been good for this, but yeah, that is 3 hits for you. What are our 3 targets? So I have the one you were targeting. Yep.
And then I will hit the one that bit Turman.
Okay.
And the other one that's up against the water, next to the original target.
Okay, these 3, that's fine. And damage. So go ahead and roll your damage. We'll use the same one for all 3. As Tam, just in rapid succession, reaches back to his quiver. 1, 2, 3, firing into the melee with just the confidence of an archery champion.
Not phenomenal damage, but 5 damage to each of them.
5 damage. That is just enough to hit major thresholds, which, incidentally, major threshold finishes off 2 of the wolves already damaged from previous attacks. Of the remaining, 1 is uninjured and 1 is hurt. And the priests look back at you guys now that you've kind of come, even the one who's hurt, and they just look. You can see the look of thankfulness on their faces. The hurt one is being shuffled back behind the others, and the one with the mace is now kind of moving to stand over against these 2, and feeling that he's been a little less than he should have been. He is going to be making an attack against the wolves as well, trying to make a difference. And he does land a hit, in fact, not for much, but he does land a hit against wolf number 2, who has previously been hurt. And he smacks it right on the flank. It yelps out in a very wolf-like sound in pain, but it doesn't fall over just yet. Spotlight back to the party. What are you doing?
So Baloo's going to move in closer to his friend Tormund here.
You are fine. Do not start barking.
And,
Do not start barking.
And yeah, I haven't started barking yet, but I will. I'm going to do a mending touch onto Tormund here. I'm going to spend 2 hope to let him clear a hit point.
Oh, okay, smart. So that gets rid of the vulnerable debuff and gives him health back. Very nice.
And I'm going to, as I put my hand on his shoulder, I should say, it is very brave, but do be careful, my friend. And I'm kind of going to step back away just a little bit.
Spotlight's still on the party.
I will shoot a thing, maybe.
Okay. What do you have? Do you have a bow or a crossbow or?
I have a hand crossbow.
Okay.
That one, maybe?
Okay, that's the untouched
How far are
wolf.
you? Okay, cool. Are you specifying because that's a bad choice?
No, I'm just letting. It's the only.
Okay.
The shooting is yours.
The shooting is mine. Oh my gosh. That's 12 with fear.
Before you tell us whether or not that's good enough, I can offer words of reassurance.
What do words of reassurance do in this case?
Once per rest after an ally attempts an action roll, but before the consequences take place, I can offer assistance or words of support. And when I do, my ally can re-roll their dice.
Okay. So first and foremost, what is your assistance or words of support?
I would, upon seeing, kind of standing back again from the wolves, being far enough away that I'm not in any immediate danger myself, I can survey a bit of what's going on, and I can kind of see that Morella's attempting to do a thing, and I'll just kind of offer, just encouraging words. I believe in you. You have these. Something along those lines.
Morella, you hear these very sincere words come from the mouth of your not quite friend, I believe. How does that make you feel?
I would probably say the same about most people.
Confused, but reassured.
Sure.
Because he does seem very sincere with it. And
who
she is
doesn't?
standing back, weirded out as hell by these wolves.
And who doesn't like it when somebody believes in them? Okay, so that gives.
I got a.
You got a what? Sorry.
What is it again?
Go ahead.
It lets me reroll.
Yes, correct.
Right?
So you can reroll your dice.
So it's a 14 with hope.
14 with hope. That's a very different roll. They were both successes, but turned a fear to a hope. That's certainly powerful. So Morella, roll the damage on your hit as your bolt from your hand crossbow certainly takes the wolf. Let's see where it hits him.
And does the priest guy who's smacking him, does he count as an ally?
I would say yes in this circumstance.
Okay. That's ominous, but okay. Roll damage on that. So then sneak attack because an ally is within melee range?
Sure, yeah, of course.
Okay, so it's 8 damage.
8 damage.
Physical damage, if that
8
matters.
Physical damage. I don't believe it does necessarily, but that turns into 2 hit points of damage. Once again, hitting the major threshold.
Major threshold?
Yeah, so that was not with fear. It was with hope, thanks to Belu. So Spotlight's still with the party. Actually, no, never mind. My cup runneth over. I'm going to spend 2 fear to spotlight my 2 wolves here before you guys take that opportunity away from me. And they are going to make some attacks, and they have figured out that their enemy is not the priest. So one of them is going to run toward Morella, and the other toward Tambid. Anybody who is asking, what about attacks of opportunity? They don't exist in Daggerheart as such. They take specific class abilities. I believe warriors specifically have access to that. Maybe some other ones through some abilities they can pick up. But as far as I'm aware, obviously correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but nobody in the current party has that tool at their disposal. So these 2 wolves make their moves across, spreading out a little bit, which is not their preferred way to attack, but they each take their own attempt, one jumping onto the roof of the nearby building to go after Morella, and the other attempting to pounce at Tambid. First attack roll to Morella. That is a 10 to hit.
That does not hit.
Okay. And Tambid. That is a 10 to hit. That's against your evasion.
Yeah, does not hit.
Does not hit. Okay. The wolves make a big show of growling, slavering, dripping kind of this venom on the ground at their feet as they come jumping for Morella and Tambit. But our adventurers manage to fend them off, one with crossbow, one with bow, and keep them at range. Spotlight back to the party.
Now you are going to see one of the weirdest things you have ever seen. A turtle lifting off in the air and flying.
Don't forget your feather.
What? That's D&D, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm going to fly to here, and I'm going to say not on my watch and smack that one.
All right.
So that is an
Do you have an
18 with
apron on?
fear. What was that?
Do you have an apron on?
Apparently I
'Cause
do,
you were in
and
a stew
with-
cooking contest.
apparently that's what was chosen for my mini. But yes. 18 with fear,
Okay.
but
Yeah, go ahead.
before the game master gets too excited, once
I'm
per
always
session,
excited.
when I make an action roll with fear, I can change it to roll with hope instead.
I need to make you guys roll more. That's fine. Okay, so that is an 18 with hope then?
Yep.
Okay, great. That's a hit. So let's see. We are
I-
attacking this wolf here. Go ahead and roll damage.
I'm going to use a hope, because while I am flying, I can spend a hope to deal an extra d8 of a unsuccessful attack.
Nice.
I have to find the dice for that. Let's make sure I use the correct ones. That's a d10, right?
Asking me.
8, 5, and 2. 15.
15 damage.
Yes. Yeah, sorry.
Very good. Yeah, so that does breach not minor, not major, but the severe damage threshold, which is the second highest amount of damage you can do, which means 3 hit points are marked off on the wolf as Tormund flies in and with the speed of his wings behind him drives the halberd into this wolf's back, and the vines just split as the head of the halberd enters, and as Tormund follows through and yanks the blade down and through, he leaves 2 halves of the vine wolf on the ground that very quickly start to kind of disintegrate there on the ground. We are down to 1 wolf left standing. Spotlight still to the party.
I'm going to move here.
I guess I'm gonna run up to that last one and try to stab it with my spear.
Okay.
To 14 with hope.
14 with hope hits.
For 7 damage, and then I'm also gonna do mark a stress, and I can use my fawn kick. If I succeed on a melee attack, I can kick myself off their bodies, dealing an extra 2d6 damage and knocking back either myself or the target.
Cool. All right. Yeah.
Stress marked for another 7 damage, and I'm just gonna bounce back.
Okay. Yeah. So Azalea comes running in with a harrying attack, in and out, with, not seemingly a heavy attack, but there's power behind it. And at the end of the day, it's enough on a banged up vine wolf. This attack takes the last bit of animating essence out of whatever was making this thing work, and its vines just shrivel into nothingness as it turns to dust and disappears. Of the 4 vine wolves that stood before you, they have all been defeated. A quick look across the bridge at the other group shows you that you can't see the other group. The Dracona have either disappeared of their own will or not, but they are nowhere to be seen. As you take a moment to kind of take in everything, the priests of Valkyr are off in the corner. One of them is casting. You can see a glowing, radiant light from the hand onto the wound of the other, and you can see both that kind of green, vicious venom push out of the wound, and then the skin reknit and heal through the torn clothing. The main priest, the one carrying the mace, looks at you, nods, and thank you. And then him and his group run off, clearly seeming like they will probably be needed. Before you have a moment to really react to that, you hear a booming voice echoing through the night. Now, I don't know exactly what's going on here, but I do know that we have an entire arena full of armored and armed men who were ready to be in a battle royale. I think the arena just got a little bit bigger. Why don't you all show us what it means to fight for Vesir? And with that, and a shout, you can hear the sound of the various contestants in the battle royale picking up their arms that they had been intending to use on each other moments before, and taking off into the growing crowd of monsters that you can see from where you stand. It turns out the monsters were largely more frightening than dangerous, and from your vantage point, it doesn't take long to see them all corralled, driven down, and eventually wiped out. The shouts of scream turn into cheers as the onlooking crowd, those who aren't armed or equipped or capable of diving into the fight, cheer on those who are. And you see the people of Gaiatel, and particularly the people here of Alatane's spear, step up to defend each other and drive these monsters back. But the sky is still dark. The stars are still green. And even though the initial threat seems to have passed, fear is growing around you as people who have realized that they're safe, but that something is still very wrong. A moment later, you hear the heavy tread sound of units of the Visiran Guard appearing. Obviously, there had been some in the crowd already, and they had already gone to work protecting and aiding the people who were here. But now a whole regiment appears to have been called in and is spreading out around Alatane's spear, trying to enforce some peace in the Remembrance Festival. And your group, as it takes a moment to catch its breath, watching all this take place around it, is shocked when a sergeant of the Visiran Guard comes crossing the bridge, looking over at all of you, and says, "You lot, I don't know what you're doing here, but you're under arrest."
I take off my hat. I'm sorry.
And while you guys figure out exactly how you want to respond to that, I'm going to give you a week, in fact, as I think this is where we will stop for tonight. We will come back to the party's answer, potentially the audience's answer. I'm going to leave it to the party as to decide to whether or not to throw this question to you guys. If so, we'll start next session out with it, where we will ask you how the party reacts to potentially being placed under arrest. Thank you, everybody, for watching. This has been the first session of a campaign that has been in the works for some months now for everybody here. A lot of effort has gone into making these characters and this setup, and we are really excited to continue sharing them with you, sharing the characters, telling the story, and most importantly, really refining what we do here. As I said, we're going to be looking for feedback from you guys, not just on story choices, but on how we structure this moving forward. So if you have thoughts, please throw them in the chat. If you're watching this video on YouTube later, please throw them in the comments. Let us know what you want, because we want to make sure that Mimic Decision mimics the right decisions. So every Wednesday, we will be here, same time, same place, playing this campaign. every Friday, roughly. Our edited videos should be hitting onto YouTube, and you can check them out there as well. I had a great time tonight. I hope you guys did too. And I can't wait to see you next week.
Bye.
Good night, everyone.